Hello everyone, and welcome to our HelloFresh Test Kitchen. My name is Rebecca Lewis and I'm the registered dietitian and nutrition manager. I get to work with our talented team of chefs each week to make sure that our recipes are not just delicious, but also nutritionally balanced. Today, we're going to be cooking one of the recipes on the menu this week, feisty fiesta fish tacos with grapefruit, avocado, and cabbage slaw. I really like this recipe because it's a healthy twist on a classic comfort food. We are going to be pan sauteing the fish instead of frying them up and loading it with calories and fat. Our dressing is going to be a tangy vinaigrette instead of a heavy mayo. Our grapefruit and cilantro are going to give great freshness to this recipe, the avocado just the right amount of creaminess, and the recipe is going to be fresh, colorful, and packed with flavor. We've made it really easy for you by making all the ingredients in just the right portion sizes so there's no waste, and we even pre-shredded the cabbage to help save you on time. So to get started, all you need to have at home is a large pan and some tongs, a cutting board and knife, make sure you have a paring knife handy, and then olive oil, salt, and pepper on hand as well. All right, let's get started. The first thing we're gonna do is preheat the oven to 400 degrees. We'll use that later to get our tortillas nice and warm. And then we'll get started by prepping our shallot. One of the things I really like about HelloFresh is that ultimately you are the chef in the kitchen and you can make the meal however you like. So for me, I don't really like raw onion all that much, so I'm not going to use the whole shallot today. I'm just going to do about half of it. So get that nice and peeled. And I'll put my garbage in my garbage pail over here. And the shallot today is going to go into the cabbage slaw, so I'm just going to give it a really nice thin slice. Always make sure when you're cutting in the kitchen you're using the bear claw so you keep your thumbs back and you won't accidentally cut your fingers. Perfect, so I have that all chopped and prepped. The next thing I'm going to do is to take the cilantro and I'm going to pull all the leaves off and keep the stems separate. The leaves we're going to use for garnish, and then the stems are actually going to go into the cabbage slaw, so don't throw them away. Just get those picked off here. A lot of people don't like cilantro. Actually, Julia Childs, she was one of those people who didn't like cilantro and often didn't cook with it. I, on the other hand, love the fresh flavor that cilantro gives a dish. So we're just gonna finish plucking these little leaves off. All right, and then what we're gonna do next is get the stems nice and chopped up. And these can just be a rough chop. They're just going into the slaw. Perfect. Get those off to the side here. And now I'm going to show you guys how to segment the grapefruit. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to find a nice flat spot so it's not rolling around. And then I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to start cutting around the edges. And don't worry if you cut a little bit of the grapefruit off, it's totally okay. What's going to make it easier to segment once we have all the peel taken off is that there's no white part or the pith left on the grapefruit. So make sure we get all of that off. I love grapefruit. It has such a beautiful citrus smell to it. It's full of vitamin C. In fact, just half a grapefruit gives you all the vitamin C that you need in a whole day, which is awesome. Also a good source of vitamin A. So you're getting all sorts of good antioxidants with this fruit. We're just going to get the last bits off here. Again, just getting all the little white parts off can make your job easier later. Okay, so we'll put this in the garbage pail. And I'm going to actually squeeze the grapefruit into the bowl later, so I'm just going to collect all the juices now. So when you are segmenting a grapefruit, you'll notice that there's little wedges already kind of apparent. So what you're going to do is take your paring knife And you're just gonna place it along the little skin of the membrane on each side, and then you're able to just pop out a beautiful little grapefruit segment. I'll put those here. You're gonna do that for each little segment. Grapefruits typically have somewhere between 10 to 12 different segments in them. So we're gonna make sure we get them all. And all the juice that's leaking out is collecting in the bowl, and that's gonna make up the majority of our tangy vinaigrette. Just take your time with this. Be patient. There are some seeds in this, so you'll want to make sure you strain the juice out later. Okay, almost done here. Beautiful little segments. And for those of you at home who are cooking along with me, the smell of the citrus really gets my taste buds watering. Pulled out. All right, 2 more little segments in here. All right, so what you're left with, you're gonna give a nice big squeeze. All the beautiful grapefruit juice will come out. Had a couple seeds fall in here, so I'm gonna grab my spoon and just pull those out. Again, cooking is all about fun. You can't always plan everything in the kitchen. So if a seed or two falls into the dressing, it's okay. All right, so we have our dressing, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put in the shallots and the cilantro stems and the cabbage. So let's get that all put in there. I just love how colorful this recipe is. The purples and pinks and greens. We do eat with our eyes first, so it's important that the meal also looks beautiful. All right, so let's give this a nice toss. Get the cabbage completely coated in all that delicious and sweet grapefruit juice. And then what we'll do is add a little bit of olive oil, give it a nice drizzle, and some salt and pepper. Again, this is totally your personal preference, so if you like a little more, you can add more salt and pepper here. If you like less, you don't have to add any if you're watching your sodium at home. Oh, this just looks so beautiful. Okay, so we'll set this to the side, and let's get the tortillas put in the oven so they can start warming up, and we'll work on our avocado next. So I have a piece of aluminum foil here, and I'm just simply going to take my tortillas and I'm going to fold them into the aluminum foil so they steam in there, and just place them directly into the oven. Okay, and let's work on our avocado next. So a lot of people don't know avocado is actually a fruit. That's why it has a seed in the middle. And one of the things that I love best about avocados is that they're so full of fiber. Even though they're really creamy, one avocado has almost all the fiber you need for a whole day. So in addition to being a source of really good healthy fats, the avocado is also going to keep you full from all that fiber. So let's get that pulled out of the shell, and we're going to put that directly into the cabbage slaw. We'll save the other half to top the tacos with later, but let's go ahead and get the seed out. A little trick I use at home. Just give that a little twist and that comes right out. Get this one sliced up for our tacos. All right, so we have our avocado ready. And now we are ready to move on to our fish. Quick tip, whenever you are working with any kind of meat, it's really important that you pat down the meat so that if there's any liquid that the meat was sitting in, you get it all off of the fish, which is what we're cooking today. Oil and water don't mix very well together, so if you forget to do this step, you risk the chance of the oil splattering up at you in the pan. So that's why we're patting it down, getting it nice and dry. And then what we're going to do is turn our oven on to get this pan nice and hot. Perfect, so medium-high heat. And we'll get some olive oil drizzled in there. And while that's heating up, I'm gonna get the fish chopped into 1-inch pieces because we're gonna put them in the tacos and we want them to be the right bite size. Okay, so let's get this chopped up. This is going to be so good. I can't wait for you guys to taste this dish. Right, so we've got the fish all chopped up. Now what we're gonna do is get it seasoned with some salt and pepper and the secret ingredient today, cumin. All right. All right, so a little salt and pepper, again, just to your own personal preference, how you like to have your food seasoned. I like a little more pepper, a little bit of salt, and then our cumin. Oh, it's so fragrant. So one of my favorite parts of working with spices like this is how they add so much flavor into the dish. Get these all turned over. Season them on the other side here. Again, a little salt and pepper, and we'll finish with our cumin. All right, let's check on our pan. Make sure the oil is nice and hot. And you can tell that the oil is hot when it slides really easy over your pan. You can see that. So we're ready to add the fish. I'm gonna throw some pieces in there. I'm sure you guys at home can hear that sizzle. And for this part of the recipe, fish cooks up really fast already, and tilapia is a thinner fish, so this is not the time to walk away from the stove. You want to watch the fish, so when they go from translucent to a little bit opaque, probably for this fish about 1.5 minutes, you're going to flip it to the other side so it can cook through on the other side. So we'll watch that. Make sure that the fish is cooking up nice and well. A lot of people don't eat a lot of fish in their diet. USDA dietary recommendations came out this year, and they recommend for people to be eating 8 ounces of fish a week. So if you can eat a white fish like this, it's going to do you and your body a world of wonder. Now you'll notice that with this fish, some of the pieces are slightly thinner than the other. So those thinner pieces you can flip over because they're cooked on the other side. Kind of keeping an eye on everything. Smells so good in the kitchen right now. I'm just going to get these fish flipped over. wonderful things about a service like HelloFresh is that for people who maybe haven't learned how to cook at home, we do make our recipes simple so that you can follow along easily. But even more important, we try to put a lot of variety into our menu planning so that you aren't making the same recipes over and over again. And with this recipe, we've incorporated the grapefruit to make it a slightly different variety than you would probably get at your local store. So we make it simple, we give you a lot of variety, and this is fun. It's a nice time of the day to just kind of meditate, focus on what you're doing here. Just gonna let those go a little bit. I'm gonna get our tortillas pulled out of the oven. Okay. Those opened. And the fish are just about done. So you can see they're cooked through on both sides. So an important thing when you're cooking meat is to realize the pan is very hot. So even if I turn the heat off like I'm gonna do now, the fish that are sitting in it are still gonna cook through because of the heat coming from the residual pan. So they're just about done. I'm turning the heat off and we are ready to get plated for our dinner tonight. So we'll grab a plate and one of the tortillas. We are going to get some of the beautiful cabbage slaw with the avocados. Pile that right on there. We're going to add in some of that beautiful grapefruit segments that we did earlier. We are going to add in a bit of fish. And then to finish off the dish, we're going to add in a little bit of that sliced avocado. And we'll garnish with some of the cilantro leaves that we pulled off earlier. And there you have it. A beautiful meal that you made all by yourself in 30 minutes or less. Today, less than 20. It was easy, it's gonna be delicious, and it's nutritionally balanced. So for all of you at home, thank you for inviting me into your kitchens and cooking along with me today. If you have any questions about the meal, you can always email our chefs directly at thekitchen@hellofresh.com. And if you have any questions about the nutrition of the meal, you can email me directly at nutrition@hellofresh.com. One last thing before you dig into this delicious meal today, make sure that you get a picture snapped. You can use the hashtag HelloFreshPics. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So thank you guys all for following me today, and happy eating from me to you.